Welcome back to Morning Express. This is the political point, just a few hours to the historic repeat presidential elections. We are discussing solutions, options, and possible scenarios for the country in the wake of this political crisis we find ourselves in. Before we went on break, we were brainstorming on what happens on the 27th of October if elections remain on the 26th of October. Let me pose that question to you, Senator Irungu Kangata. We've heard what Senator Ladama here has to say, and it ends with President Uhuru Kenyatta at the end of the day resigning, making way for a transitional government as we prepare for a fresh presidential election complete with a nomination. What happens for you on the 27th?
The arrangement of the so-called transitional government is not provided for in the Constitution. All their proposals which they are making, they are extra-constitution. That is, they are not within the legal framework. So therefore, for instance, adjourning the elections is not contemplated. Even if an order was to issue by the court, it will be an order which is wrong, which is illegal. Number two, this so-called transitional government, again, it is illegal. It is not provided for in the Constitution. So we as Kenyans, we must choose between adhering to the letter and the spirit of the Constitution and being and acting extra-constitutionally. And number two, there is the issue which is saying that we have some functions which were not devolved within the set time. I can tell you in Kenya, the so-called devolved functions, they were even devolved even before time. It is there in the Constitution.
Look at we have issues like health that were not fully devolved in the right time. Issues like road functions.
No, it is not there.
Let us be
you
honest.
read the Constitution.
Let us be very
No,
honest.
look here. No, look here.
Is agriculture fully devolved?
I can tell you, look at the transitional clauses. We have a whole schedule
My friend.
which sets timeline, and that timeline was 2 years post the 2013 election, and they were devolved in 2014, 1 year before time. It is there. In fact, by the way, if you followed keenly during the debate by the doctor strike, if you followed keenly, one of the reasons they were raising, they were arguing that the health was devolved, even without allowing various so-called institutions and structures to be fully developed at the county level. And that is why those doctors were saying, probably that is why we are having problems. If you can recall that debate.
Right.
I saw that interview of that doctor who is the chairman of that doctors union. So it is there.
We'll be having this conversation.
So the point is, since the enactment of the Constitution in 2010, we have never had a situation where we are breaching a clear provision of the Constitution. And this is his proposal. And the proposal by some civil societies, I saw yesterday at KTN News, some people talking of extending the Constitution, is a clear and a proposed violation of the Constitution.
No, it's not.
You can't extend this election. You can't.
I'll take a few calls.
And number two also, we do not per se have any condition that we are imposing on the IPC. We have issues, by the way. For instance, we are not very happy with the chairman. We have issues with the chairman. But we are so magnanimous to agree to proceed with an election, notwithstanding all our demands not having been met.
Right.
For instance, we are still ready to have the election proceed, notwithstanding, for instance, the new laws are yet to be signed into law. The so-called bill, that bill where we are amending various provisions of the law, is still a bill. It's yet to be assented by the president. So my point is, when you go into an election, it's an issue of give and take. You have so much that you want to be achieved, but you also have to be fair to the other parties. And that is what I would have thought NASA ought to have done. Yes, they have demands. Vast majority of their demands have been met, but surely then they should then proceed to enter into the election.
Right.
My final point is, my former colleague, member of parliament, who has gone to court seeking to compel Raila Odinga to stay on the ballot. By the way, I would pray his case to be dismissed. Why force him? If you don't want to participate in a repeat election, it is your right. So, but don't start forcing people not to proceed. Those who want to vote, you stop them from exercising their right. He is alluding to NASA causing violence in coast. You have heard him say that. I don't know, blocking or stopping people from moving their goods into their neighboring countries, I urge the police to arrest him. By the way, he is now
welcome.
I want us to continue with that conversation.
Let me
what will happen? But very briefly,
let me respond to Kangata. I think Kangata, Senator Kangata, it's actually wrong for you to deduce the meaning of my statements, which I firmly stand and I support, to mean something contrary different. I actually clearly stated that, hypothetically, suppose this happen. What if? What will happen?
The police are going to clobber them.
No, listen. And I think we ought to interpret the Constitution in a way that is envisioned in Article 259. There's nowhere we are going to have good governance in this country if this country is divided. That is number one. My proposition is as follows. I know you are fixated to the fact that, yes, the Supreme Court said election must be held within 60 days. But what if within those 60 days, it is completely unattainable for the elections to be held because, you know, things are not right in this country. So we are going to say we are going to hold on to this constitution so that we can be able to destroy this country? I think what is important, and this is what I said, and I repeat this. I said, if Uhuru and Ruto really cares about this country, let them evoke Article 247 of the Constitution, let them resign. When they resign, we have a neutral person, and let us go into a fresh election.
All right, let's pause it there for just a moment and listen into what